Welcome aboard. It is episode 99 of the J.R. Heft Show, and we are having a special Veterans Day celebration conversation with Meagan LoBuglio. She is the V3 Regional Program Manager for Southwest Virginia. She has settled in Roanoke. She enlisted on active duty in the United States Air Force in 2001 and served for 12 years. Meagan, thank you so much, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, JR.
So let's start this off right away. I have a personal quibble, so I'm going to go ahead and get on a soapbox real quick. Don't be nervous. Okay. There are 2 days that really celebrate military service. Mm-hmm. One is Memorial Day, and the other is Veterans Day. Now, I think a lot of folks get confused by these 2 days. And whenever they see a veteran, they're going to go ahead and thank them for their service. Mm-hmm. That technically on Memorial Day isn't accurate. On Memorial Day, what we're supposed to be doing is we're supposed to honor the tens of thousands of men and women who have given their ultimate sacrifice for serving in the country. In other words, go to the cemetery, decorate it. I think it was Decoration Day to begin with, and have that kind of remembrance, folks. I'm not saying don't thank an individual for service, but honor those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. That's Memorial Day. Mm-hmm. Veterans Day are for those of us who are still hanging around and are veterans. Mm-hmm. Thank us for our service on Veterans Day. And so for your 12 years of service and what you continue to do for veterans, Meagan, thank you for your service.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, absolutely. Memorial Day is definitely a day of remembrance. And as we approach Veterans Day, we do thank all the veterans who have served.
Yeah, absolutely. So talk about what it is that you do for veterans with the V3 program in Southwest Virginia. What's your role?
Okay, so my role, V3 stands for Virginia Values Veterans, and it's an acronym, of course, standard military. And I work for Virginia's Department of Veteran Services, so the state's Department of Veteran Services. And one of our lines of service, one of the opportunities that we provide veterans who live here in the Commonwealth is an opportunity to have successful and meaningful employment. And the V3 program is a program that is designed to work with companies. So my role is to go out into the community here in Southwest Virginia and work with business owners, small, large, industry, corporate level, HR managers, recruiters, and anyone who works in workforce development who is looking to welcome veterans and military spouses into their workspace. And we're able to educate these employers on what it's like to be a veteran, what it's like to be a transitioning service member, what it's like to serve in the military, how to interpret those resumes, and how to locate these veterans, how to identify them and military spouses, and then successfully employ them and have a meaningful relationship that works both ways. So the V3 program works with businesses, and we advocate on behalf of the veteran and military spouse community.
So that is a fantastic program, and we're going to go ahead and dive into that here a little bit. But let's go back to your years of service. 2001 is when you enlisted in the Air Force, and you served for 12 years. I'm presuming that you were motivated a little bit by 9/11, 2001, maybe not. Talk about what inspired you to join the Air Force.
Yeah, actually, I was not motivated by 9/11 because I enlisted before 9/11 happened. When I enlisted, all was relatively calm in the world, so to speak. This was May of 2001. I was motivated like many other enlisted members are motivated. I had graduated high school. I had been out of high school for nearly 1 year, and I was in the workforce, and I was a bit lost and wanted to have the opportunity to have some opportunities, to be able to go to college, to be able to, have a career that was meaningful to me. And I didn't have, coming from a lower middle class family, didn't really have those opportunities. And so I recalled conversations from when recruiters would come to my high school. And I thought, well, that wasn't something that I had considered then, but I quickly went and talked to a recruiter and enlisted. And then a handful of months after that, 9/11 happened. Yeah.
So, and I have somewhat of a similar experience as a Navy veteran. I enlisted out of high school in 1992, right after the Gulf War. The Gulf War had already wrapped up when I enlisted. And by enlisting, from a middle class family, joining the Navy opened up a whole bunch of opportunities for me as well, and has really developed me into the person I am today and the career that I have today. And so that's where I want to ask you, over the 12 years of service in the Air Force, what skills did you learn and glean that has enabled you to, have the career that you're having today?
Yeah, that's wow, so many. And, as a 17-year-old kid, raising my right hand and listening into the Air Force, I never really imagined all of the wonderful things that would have unfolded as a result of doing that. Just on a naive whim, looking for something, enlisted. And then over the course of 12 years, was really able to grow up and mature in ways that are a little bit fast-paced by comparison to individuals who do not serve in the military. When I really look back at what the Air Force allowed me to do at like 19 and 20 years old, it really blows my mind. I was a weapons director. We basically controlled fighter aircraft at a combat level. And I think to myself, wow, they were allowing me to do that at like 19 and 20 years old. Being responsible for lives and multi-million dollars worth of equipment. And so it has allowed me to grow in ways that I'm very grateful for. It's allowed me to see the world, really with an open mind and be able to relate to individuals of all backgrounds. And I think I've become a really effective communicator as a result of my military service.
That's something that you hit on there that I think is important. And I wanted to, again, tie this to the fact that you're supporting companies better understand what a veteran can do for them. Mm-hmm. Your own experience there is obviously invaluable. What are the things that veterans bring from their service to a company?
Wow. A lot. So many benefits. And one of the things that I just spoke on was the level of responsibility that you're entrusted with at a very early age, by comparison to the civilian community, is bar none. And oftentimes a civilian will live their entire lifetime and have their entire working career and not have the culmination of level of experience and responsibility that a person who served in the military for 4 years did. We're talking high level strategic operations, multi-million, billion dollars worth of responsibility. You're oftentimes very young, supervising individuals, handfuls, if not sometimes as you progress in your career, responsible for, over 100 plus individuals, and their career progression and, the success of the mission. So all of these things come into play as we transition into a civilian career, and we bring such a wide breadth of experience and leadership skills and communication skills. And we really understand, being able to see a vision and execute and be responsible to our community, ourselves, our working environment, be responsible to our peers. And so these are just a few things that veterans, bring to the table in any environment that they're at, but especially in the working environment.
I presume there's a lot of veterans who are going to be watching this, as well as companies that are interested in the V3 program. And so my next question is a little personal for you, if I may.
Sure.
But you and I both made different decisions at around the 10 to 12 year mark in our military service. You decided at 12 years to go ahead and leave military service behind and enter the civilian workforce. I chose at that point to go ahead and continue and finish out my Navy career. There are pros and cons to both of those decisions. Obviously, the pro is if you get to 20 years, you do get a pension, a good retirement, but you also lose out on 8 years of possible employment. Talk about that decision that you made, if you're willing to go into it. Why was that the right decision for you at the time?
It was the right decision for me at the time. And, I often get asked this because when folks say, if they're familiar at all with military life, it's like, why didn't you stay another 8? Well, the truth is, JR, is that sometimes you just know when chapters are supposed to be closed. And for me, it really just felt like the right time. I was in a crucially manned career field. We deployed just about every 6 months. So I was 6 months home, 6 months away in the Middle East, and had that rotation for the duration of my 12 years of service. I controlled fighter aircraft, and post 9/11, we were flying a lot of fighter aircraft in 2 countries. And we were still, at very active mission in South Korea. And so we were rotating through a lot of deployments, and the stress of that was pretty high. And I made a decision to leave that and pursue something that I really pursue the unknown, which was the civilian world as an adult. But that decision didn't come easy because, as you said, you feel like you're leaving something on the table. But also for me, it felt welcoming in that there was an entire world out there full of possibilities. So although it was unknown, it was kind of endless. And so I chose to pursue the endless possibilities as opposed to kind of the predestined known. And I'm grateful that I did. I have no regrets with that decision.
And I think that's something that those that are facing that decision today need to think about, that it is okay to off ramp. That's the point that I was kind of getting at. And what's even better now is that there are programs in place that are even more refined and developed than they were in 2013. One of them being the V3 program. And so let's talk again about what you're trying to do with individual companies and how that supports veterans. Again, there's an education piece, I think, that's associated with your role to companies. What are you trying to teach them about veterans and the V3 program?
Yeah, so when we certify an employer, we offer an education piece. It's a part of the requirement in order to have successful certification for a company. And during that education piece, we talk about what it's like to be, it's truly just the basics of military life. It is the basics of transitioning from veteran or transitioning from military to veteran status. And we do this at truly the lowest level, because we know that only about 7% of the entire United States population is even eligible for military service. So even a smaller percentage of that has ever served in the military. So oftentimes you may know someone who served in the military, a distant family member, a grandfather, somebody you went to high school with. But in terms of the larger bit of the population having that experience, they do not. So our team aims to educate that bit of population on what it's like to, go from being responsible for multi-million dollars worth of equipment and then taking off the uniform and applying to a civilian job when you've never written a resume, when you've never done an interview, when you're applying for open enrollment healthcare and you've never had to do that. So while military and veterans are highly trained, highly experienced, we are experienced and trained in a very different way. So the V3 program and the portion of the education aims to educate employers, HR managers, recruiters, small business owners on exactly what that process is, what it looks like. And then we talk about all the benefits of hiring in the veteran and military spouse community. And we also aim to destigmatize some things that maybe individuals conceive about veterans and the military spouse community.
Let's talk about that a little bit. I had another question in mind, but I do know that there is perhaps in the civilian world this mindset of what a veteran is. And clearly, I don't think January 6th helped us with that persona or that stereotype that might be involved. But people maybe think that veterans, they all suffer from PTSD, or they all have suicidal ideations, or they're all violent extremists, those kind of things. How do you overcome those stereotypes or that mindset with potential companies that want to be part of the program?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's something that we address directly. And we inform and educate that in the mental health space, statistics show that most individuals have some form of PTSD, right? PTSD is not specifically combat related. You can have PTSD from a car accident, or witnessing or being part of a tragic incident, or just a number of things that are not directly combat related. So, right. Although you're not military or doesn't necessarily correlate to having PTSD or not. Also, we educate employers on the fact that even if an individual does have PTSD, that doesn't necessarily translate to violent behavior. As a matter of fact, statistics and data show quite the contrary to that. And so it really is just a matter of taking it back a notch, right? And having these open conversations and really showcasing that this is the face of a veteran, right?
Right.
This, a young female, still working age, has served over a decade at a very high level, combat experience, but yet we are your neighbors. We're the people that you go to church with. We are the people that you pass in grocery stores. As a matter of fact, Virginia has over 700,000 military veterans living right here in the Commonwealth. So the chances of you being in a social circle with a veteran are very high. You know veterans, and so you work with them, and so this is really the conversation that we have with V3 is the informative education piece And it's an open conversation. So if individuals are not experienced and they have questions, we welcome those questions. We welcome those conversations because, we understand that not everyone has this experience and that we can destigmatize any falsities about the veteran community through open conversation.
Absolutely. You had mentioned that 7% of the population is even eligible to serve, but that is a very diverse 7%. Mm-hmm. It comes from all walks of life. And again, a female, male, transgender, LGBTQ, Black, white, Hispanic, you name it. It is definitely the best that America has to offer. They all come and serve, and they're all looking to do one thing, and that is make sure that they defend this great country of ours. And so, making sure that companies understand that is so valuable, and I absolutely applaud you for doing that. There are 1,500 companies that have signed on with the V3 program. Talk about their certification and recertification process. What are you hoping, in addition to just the training, what are you hoping that companies do for the veteran?
Great question. So the certification is a 3-part process. It's enrollment, and companies are able to do that through our website at www.dvsv3.com. Click the big red button in the right-hand corner that says enroll. It asks for basic information of a point of contact and the company name. From there, you'll be assigned a program manager that will reach out and work directly with you as a consultant. And all of our program managers are very skilled and have a lot of resources and have a very large network that we've built where we can point employers in the direction of where they need to go to find, locate, and hire veterans and military spouses. So that's a huge benefit to an employer. We do the education piece. We do that through an online training or an in-person training. All of our trainings happen once a month, and they're available either online or throughout the Commonwealth. And then from there, we take a pledge letter from the employer, we send it up to headquarters, and then we send them their certification package. And that comes directly from the governor's level. And then we consider these employers the most veteran-friendly places of employment throughout the Commonwealth. We have a partnership with the Virginia Chamber of Commerce where we offer on-site installation recruiting events called Hire Vets Now. And we also have a fellowship opportunity for companies who would be interested in taking on veterans and military spouses as interns, and then offering them successful employment post-internship. So a wide variety of opportunities for employers and a lot of benefits to a free program.
For sure. Now, I would assume most of your companies are probably located in Virginia. However, do you have companies that are outside of the Commonwealth?
We do have companies that are headquartered outside of the Commonwealth that hire here in the Commonwealth. So a lot of your large employers may not necessarily be headquartered here, but have a large presence here. All of them are a part of the V3 program.
Excellent. So that's the focus on the companies. Do you have any particular focus on the veteran?
We have a sister program called V3 Transition, and we have a whole nother team of consultants who work with veterans. And so really the way the partnership works is between our two mirrored teams, we have a team that intakes veterans who are looking for employment. They do resume review. They do direct, kind of counseling on what is it that you want to do with your next opportunity, right? This is your chance to choose. Often in the military, we didn't get to choose what job we performed, but in the civilian world, we do get to choose. So our program managers with the V3 Transition work with the veterans to decipher all of that. And then they refer them to companies that are pledged to the V3 program. And the intention is to have the best match for both the employer and the veteran, right? A successful transition looks like a bridge that has already been built. Right. And so between the two teams, we build the bridge and really provide the benefit for both the veteran and military spouse and the employer seeking those individuals.
That's awesome. Talk a little bit then about maybe what's going on right now. You're the regional coordinator for Southwest. Have you had any events recently, and do you have any events that are coming up?
Yeah, so we just had a really successful event here in Roanoke. We certified about 20 new employers here in the city, so Roanoke and surrounding. My area of coverage is basically Roanoke over to Martinsville and then all the way down to Bristol, kind of up into the Norton Lee County area. So, Kentucky, Tennessee border. So really the call to action is for more employers all over the Commonwealth, but especially in Southwest Virginia to take the pledge. It's not... since we're so spread out here in Southwest, word travels a little bit slower. But we just had a really successful event. We welcomed over 20 new employers in Southwest Virginia. Our next training opportunity is coming up November 17th. That's going to be an online virtual certification opportunity. Employers are able to go directly to our website and register themselves. It'll happen on this platform, like a Zoom platform. Mm-hmm. And in about 2 hours time, they will receive the training and be able to proceed with certification. So no matter if you're an out of state, out of country, we have companies that are headquartered out of country that hire here in Virginia. Or if you're a local employer, you're able to attend the virtual training November 17th at 10 a.m.
All right. No, that is absolutely something that I'm interested in as well. You mentioned there the Zoom call. COVID-19 clearly has had an impact on everybody. How has COVID-19 had an impact on your ability to continue with the V3 program, continuing getting education out? Do you feel that, the virtual opportunities have actually helped or, grown your capability to get training to folks? Talk about the last couple years and what you've learned.
Actually, COVID sped our program up. V3, I believe, is in true momentum right now. We have, so many employers on a daily basis taking the pledge. On average, on a monthly basis, we see anywhere between 50 and 70 new employers taking our training. And that's on average. Sometimes it's well over 100 employers on our virtual training platform. And again, they're from all locations, all different types of industries, profit, nonprofits, industry level corporations to small mom and pop size businesses, right? And kind of everything in between. And so what's really nice is the variety of job opportunities that are available to veterans and military spouses. And then the other thing that's been really beneficial about COVID is a message that we had been conveying for many years prior to, which was freedom of work for all. And what I mean by that is oftentimes there were limiting factors for perhaps a veteran and especially military spouses for employment. And these individuals want to work, have a desire to work, but based off of certain limitations, needed to be able to have more flex work, needed to be able to have an opportunity to have a conversation about telework.
Right.
Be able to have a conversation, especially around military spouses about, I work for your company now here, but in 2 years, I may be going, across the state or across the country, and I would still like to be employed here and bring a lot of value. But I need some flexibility in terms of telework opportunities. And often prior to COVID, those conversations weren't happening as easily and as fluidly as they are happening now. So one of the benefits of COVID has been that we all have been able to figure out how to function in a virtual world, and employers are seeing the benefits of functioning in a virtual world and are now, offering way more opportunities in terms of flex work and telework that are very beneficial to the communities that we serve, which are veterans and military spouses.
That's awesome. Excellent. And fantastic point. Thank you. Thank you for making it. For those who can see, who are potentially watching the video, I've got my Virginia Tech Corps Cadet shirt on here. That's where my daughter and son-in-law went to school. Roanoke is absolutely Blacksburg area. This whole Southwest is so beautiful, and especially right now here in the fall with the colors and everything like that. Talk about settling in Roanoke. Why do you love Southwest Virginia?
Well, many reasons. I grew up here, and my family never left. Very kind of standard Southwest Virginia story. As far as I can kind of trace back my roots, everyone is here. And when I was in high school, I just thought this place is so uncool. This town is too small for me, and I'm out of here. And then I was able to go all over the world, have a multitude of experiences, and even post-military, did not come back right away. I was actually living in the DC metro area, in sales at a very high level, and just really living a high-speed life post-military service. And as I started to come back to Roanoke more frequently based off proximity to DC and visit family, I started to have my eyes opened about how awesome this location is. Not only how beautiful it is, but, how the lifestyle here is, right? Oftentimes, just going to the grocery store in DC metro area was a challenge. And I didn't have those challenges when I would come visit family here. And so I really was attracted to the pace of life. I was attracted to the cost of living. I was attracted to the, size of house I could get.
Well, that's helpful.
For the same amount of money. I was just... And then I saw the area growing.
That was where I was going to go next. You probably saw the economic opportunity there as well. I think, I live in Hampton Roads, and we talk about breaking stereotypes and breaking myths, right? So you live in Hampton Roads or the DC metro area, you think Southwest Virginia, you're like, oh, that's just coal. Mountains and coal. That's all there is out there. But really, the economic growth has been booming. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it's another reason I love my role as the regional program manager is, yes, I love to serve the veteran military spouse community and advocate on behalf of them. But I am as equally as excited to be a part of the economic development and workforce development conversation here for our region. In the late 90s when I was growing up here, we were in an economic kind of downside. And the community here over the past 20 plus years has worked very hard in terms of development and attraction and bringing all types of new talent into the region. And probably on a weekly basis, I get an email from the Economic Development Partnership here in Virginia announcing that a new employer is coming to the region here in Southwest Virginia. So the job opportunities are abundant. The industry kind of diversification is abundant. And, the opportunity for career progression and growth is really prime, right?
Yep.
I would say that's, if, I don't know the data, but if you were to probably compare it to Northern Virginia, where, there's a one job opening, for that one job opening, you're probably going to have, 100, 200 applicants, right?
Right.
That's not the case here in Southwest Virginia, right? But at the same time, we are attracting talent from all over the world And we really are primed for, I believe on LinkedIn, I saw a couple months ago that Roanoke is one of the top 10 locations for telework. So if you really are looking for, if you have telework as a part of your work opportunity and you're looking to be settled in an environment that is a nice pace of living, on LinkedIn, we were voted like one of top 10 cities in the United States for that opportunity. But here in terms of local opportunities, it's abundant. There's not an employer that I work with that does not have a job opening that is not paying a livable wage, and all have opportunities for career progression and growth.
Terrific. So, Meagan, I really appreciate you taking time to join me today and explain what your role is with the V3 program, dive into the V3 program, talk about economics and economic development and reducing perhaps some stigmas or stereotypes that are thought of as veterans. I think it's been a fantastic conversation and I really appreciate it. Before you go, is there anything you'd like to leave us with?
Yeah, my parting thoughts, JR, is just for the community to understand that Veterans Day is beyond November 11th. While we as veterans appreciate the pats on the back and we really are appreciative of the discounts and the free meals and all the awesome things that come on November 11th, we are super grateful for that. And we are super grateful for our communities acknowledging our service. The other 364 days of the year matter. And how they matter is through successful transition, employment, housing, and acceptance of this population within their civilian community. So think about a veteran beyond November 11th.
That's awesome. Meagan, once again, where can folks find out more about the V3 program and where can they follow you?
Yeah, so if you spell my name correctly, it has a lot of vowels. You can find me on LinkedIn. Please connect with me there. We share a lot of great information there that our team does, our department does. And please, if you're an employer, no employer, if you're HR manager, recruiter, small business owner, please take the pledge at www.dvsv3.com.
Awesome.
We'd love to have you. Yeah.
Awesome. Meagan LoBuglio is the Regional Program Manager for Southwest Virginia for the Virginia Values Veterans Program. Meagan, have a great Veterans Day, and thank you so much for not only your service, but also for being on the podcast.
Thank you, JR, and thank you for your service as well.
Thank you. Well, that was wonderful. Really appreciate Meagan LoBuglio, the Regional Program Manager for Southwest Virginia for the Virginia Values Veterans Program, being on the show today. As she said, thank you for your service is a wonderful way to thank a vet on Veterans Day. But if you are a company, if you are an employer, the best thing to do is get yourself registered with the V3 program and thank a vet by helping them get a job, give them a job. So that's it for me today. Hopefully you enjoyed the podcast. If you did, please make sure you like it and share it with a friend or a family member. Spread the word on social media. That will help grow the program. Until next time, I am JR Hepp. Take care.